Hey guys, welcome back to Mind Your Conversions, brought to you by Fiverr. If you're new here, this is where we break down the art and science of marketing with our hosts, Liv and Max. They will help you understand marketing better, explore fresh strategies, and most importantly, drive higher conversions. So whether you're a seasoned pro, or even if you're just getting started, you're at the right place.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are going to be tackling, I guess it's not really tackling, more like exploring, a topic that's super relevant to all of you e-commerce business owners out there. Conversion rate optimization.
Oh yeah, CRO.
CRO, exactly.
Yeah.
And, you all sent in this incredible guide, chock full of tips, and we are ready to dive in and unpack it all for you.
Yeah, this is a really key area to focus on. And, with global e-commerce sales expected to hit, what was it, 6-point-something trillion?
6.4 trillion, I think.
Yeah, trillion. That's with a T.
With a T.
So even small improvements, if you can boost your conversion rates even a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
that can mean huge wins.
Huge, right? I mean,
Sure.
It's almost ironic, you can have this beautiful website, tons of people visiting.
Yeah.
But if they're not clicking buy, what's the point?
Right.
This guide actually says the average conversion rate for e-commerce is, get this, between 0.2% and 1.9%.
Wow.
That's for every 100 people just looking around, only a handful actually buy anything.
Yeah, that's why CRO is just so essential. It's about turning those window shoppers, the ones just browsing,
Right.
into actual paying customers. So even with great products, even with a beautiful website, you're missing out if you're not optimizing those conversions.
You got to make it happen.
Exactly. You've done the hard work to get them to the site now. Let's seal the deal.
Yeah. Make sure they click buy.
Yes.
So this guide defines e-commerce CRO as the process of nudging your website visitors to take a specific action. It's not just about, the immediate sale.
Right. It could be getting them to add things to their wish list or, signing up for your newsletter, anything that moves them a step closer to becoming a customer.
It's like planting those seeds for future sales.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this.
Okay.
The guide lays out 5 main principles for effective e-commerce CRO. First, you've got to develop a solid hypothesis.
Okay.
Then you've got to define what success looks like, with KPIs, audit your conversion funnel,
Right.
regularly review everything,
Yeah.
and of course use the right tools. It seems pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, sometimes when I see the word hypothesis, I kind of glaze over a little. It feels very like science-y, academic.
I get it. It sounds more intimidating than it is.
Yeah.
Think of a hypothesis as just like a testable question.
Okay.
For example, the guide talks about simplifying the checkout form to reduce cart abandonment. So that's a starting point, but, the hypothesis would be something like, if we simplify our checkout process, we'll see a decrease in cart abandonment rates. So then you can actually track,
Yeah.
are your changes having a positive impact?
You're testing it, making sure it actually is working. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like taking a guess based on what you're seeing and then testing it out to see if you're right.
Exactly.
I like that, like detective work. But speaking of getting things done, let's talk about actionable strategies for increasing those conversion rates.
All right.
I know this is what everyone's really curious about.
Yeah.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Okay. Absolutely. Before we jump into specific tactics, though, I found this really interesting bit in the guide.
Yeah.
So while landing pages are the least popular type of sign-up form, they actually have the highest conversion rate at 23%.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that. Why do you think they're so effective?
It's probably because they're super focused. A well-designed landing page has that single clear call to action. You're minimizing distractions and guiding that visitor toward what you want them to do.
It's like removing all the clutter and just pointing them right to the buy button.
Exactly.
Okay, so optimizing landing pages, that's a big one.
Yes.
What other tactics does this guide recommend?
It really highlights reducing loading time,
Oh, that's huge.
personalizing recommendations, optimizing for mobile devices, and simplifying the checkout process.
I feel like each of those could be their own deep dive.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They all seem so important. And I know just from my own experience, if a website takes forever to load,
Oh, I'm out.
I'm gone, yeah.
The guide actually says that a whopping 40% of consumers will just abandon a website if it takes more than 3 seconds to load.
3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's putting on the pressure. Any tips for, getting our sites up to speed? I'm guessing videos are a big culprit.
Oh, for sure. One simple tip, transfer your videos to platforms like YouTube or Vimeo, instead of hosting them directly on your site. That can really free up some bandwidth and speed things up considerably.
Smart.
You want to get rid of those obstacles that might make people leave.
Right, get rid of the friction.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about personalization? I know it's all the rage right now, and I can see why, everyone wants to feel like they're getting this unique experience. But I also don't want to come across as, creepy or invasive. How do we strike that balance?
It's all about being subtle and helpful.
Okay.
So imagine someone's buying a smartphone on your site.
Okay.
You could recommend phone cases, screen protectors, maybe even headphones. It's about anticipating those needs and making the shopping experience smoother, not bombarding them with a million irrelevant suggestions.
So it's like having that helpful salesperson who kind of knows your taste, can offer suggestions, but without being too pushy.
Yeah, you want it to feel natural.
Natural, exactly.
Helpful.
The guide even mentions that personalized recommendations can lead to a 20% increase in sales. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to mobile optimization. It feels like a no-brainer in today's world, but I guess it's still worth emphasizing.
Oh, it's crucial.
What are your thoughts?
The guide says that 60% of all e-commerce sales are happening on mobile devices.
Wow.
So if your site isn't optimized, you are missing out on a massive chunk of potential customers.
Yeah, it's that mobile-first world we're living in, right? I think we all know that feeling of trying to navigate a website on our phone.
Ugh, it's painful.
And it's just clunky.
The worst.
And you just give up. You go somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about the website shrinking down to fit the screen.
No.
It's about the whole experience.
It's the whole thing, yeah. The navigation needs to be seamless. The images need to load quickly. And that checkout process needs to be, finger-friendly.
Finger-friendly, I like that.
Right. You want somebody to be able to buy something from your site just using their thumb.
Yeah, while sipping their coffee.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about simplifying the checkout process.
Okay.
This is a big one for me. I'm sure we've all experienced that frustration of a clunky checkout experience. I know I've abandoned carts because of it.
Yeah, me too.
You get to that final step, you're ready to buy, and then there's like a million form fields, or you have to create an account, and suddenly you're just like, ugh, never mind.
I know. The guide says that 22% of users abandon their orders because of the checkout process is just too long or too complicated.
Really?
Yeah.
So you really got to make that last step.
Yeah.
Like, so smooth.
Yeah.
So effortless.
Frictionless.
Frictionless, yes. Like a runner approaching the finish line. You don't want them tripping over a hurdle at the last second. All right, so we've covered those 5 key tactics for boosting those conversions.
Yeah.
But this guide is a gold mine.
Oh, yeah.
It also goes into a bunch of best practices to like really polish things up. I feel like we're leveling up.
Leveling up, yeah.
Our CRO knowledge. Where do you want to start?
Let's talk product descriptions.
Funny.
It sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many sites just don't do them well.
I'm guilty of skimming over them sometimes, I'll admit it. What makes a truly compelling product description?
It's not just listing features. It's about, painting that picture, highlighting the benefits.
Yeah.
The guide breaks down Neil Patel's 7-step framework for writing product descriptions that convert. And he really emphasizes understanding your target audience, speaking their language.
So you're really tapping into their desires and needs.
Yes.
And explaining how this product is going to improve their lives.
Exactly.
Okay, so what comes after we've nailed those captivating product descriptions?
Optimizing those product pages, high-quality images, clear pricing, and really strong calls to action.
You're making those product pages irresistible so people can't help but click add to cart.
Yes. And don't forget those shipping and return policies.
Oh, that's true.
You don't want any unpleasant surprises that might scare those shoppers away.
Yeah, be upfront.
Transparency is key, builds trust.
Builds trust.
Which is essential for conversions.
All right, let's talk about incentivizing users through rewards.
Okay.
This is a classic tactic, but always effective.
It is.
The guide mentions Taylor Stitch. They offer a 20% discount for new email subscribers.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. They get a new lead and the customer gets a deal. Win-win.
Win-win.
Yeah.
And there's so many other ways to reward customers, like, loyalty programs, birthday discounts.
For sure.
The possibilities are endless. Speaking of smart tactics, how do we feel about cross-selling?
Oh, I love a good cross-sell.
I know it can get a bad rap.
It can.
But done right, it could be incredibly effective.
Oh,
The
incredible.
key is relevance,
Yeah.
right? So if someone's buying a camera,
Okay.
maybe you suggest memory cards, extra lenses, or a camera bag.
Bet you're making their lives easier.
It's like anticipating their needs.
Exactly.
It's about offering those helpful suggestions, not being too pushy
Right.
or overwhelming.
Not at all.
The guide actually says that cross-selling can boost sales by 20% and profits by 30%.
Wow.
Those are numbers I can get behind.
Sure.
Okay, what's next on our best practices checklist?
Let's talk about surveying visitors.
Okay.
It's a great way to just get feedback straight from your customers and gain these insights into their behavior.
Yeah.
You understand not just what they're doing, but why they're doing it.
I love that. It's like getting a little sneak peek into their minds.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a ton. Key principles, tactics, and best practices for e-commerce CRO. Feeling up for a challenge?
Oh, yeah, always.
The guide goes even deeper with some advanced strategies.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, level up.
Let's do it.
First up, A/B testing. It's kind of like the gold standard for optimizing, well, anything online, right? It's about testing different versions to see what performs best.
Exactly. The guide highlights its impact, sharing that Bing, they increased their revenue by 12% just by A/B testing their ad headlines.
Wow, just from the headlines.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's powerful.
Okay, now for the big one. AI-driven CRO tools.
Ooh.
AI seems to be, taking over everything these days, so it's no surprise that it's making its way into CRO. What can you tell us about this?
To be honest, I'm a little intimidated by it. It feels very complex and futuristic.
It doesn't have to be intimidating. Think of it as a powerful tool
Okay.
that can help you achieve those goals more effectively.
Okay.
AI can analyze these massive amounts of data
Yeah.
and identify patterns that would just take humans forever to uncover. For example, the guide mentions Shopify's Shop Pay.
Okay.
It uses AI to personalize that checkout experience.
Okay.
And it has boosted conversions by 50% compared to guest checkouts. 50%, that's amazing.
It's huge.
So it's helping us personalize that checkout process,
Yeah,
which we already know is a crucial step.
it is.
What else is AI good at?
It can actually help you predict customer behavior.
Okay.
It can analyze past data to figure out what customers are likely to do next, so you can be proactive and, offer them the right products or deals at the right time.
It's like having a crystal ball for your customer interactions.
Exactly.
Okay, last but not least on our advanced strategies list,
Yeah.
tracking CRO success.
Okay.
This seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many businesses set up these elaborate strategies and then they kind of forget to, measure the results.
Right. You can't improve what you don't measure.
Exactly.
The guide emphasizes tracking key metrics like, bounce rate, exit rate, conversion rate, and average session duration.
Of all those metrics, my favorite is average order value, or AOV, because ultimately we want people to not only buy something, but to buy more.
Yes.
It's not just about getting them in the door, it's about maximizing their spending.
Exactly. And a healthy AOV really shows, how well your upselling and cross-selling strategies are working.
It's all connected. But before we get too excited about all the amazing things CRO can do, we should probably talk about some common mistakes to avoid, right?
Yeah.
Learn from other people's stumbles
Learn from the best.
so we don't make the same ones.
Yes. One of the most common is not displaying those shipping costs up front.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be surprised how many sites try to sneak those costs in at the last minute.
It's sneaky and it's deceptive.
It is.
And it can definitely lead to cart abandonment.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody likes hidden fees.
No one. You got to be upfront about it.
Transparency is key.
Yes. It builds that trust and confidence.
Right, which are essential for conversions.
Exactly.
All right, so next up on our list of CRO no-nos is not setting clear KPIs. This feels like a basic mistake, but I can see how it happens. We get so excited about implementing all these new tactics that we forget to define what success even looks like.
Right. It's like setting off on a road trip without a destination. You need to know where you're going
Yeah.
so you can chart the right course.
You're just wandering around aimlessly.
Exactly.
The guide stresses choosing KPIs that really align with your overall goals, whether that's, boosting brand awareness or driving sales.
Whatever it is for you.
Right.
Make sure you've got those clear.
Without those goals, you can't measure progress.
Nope.
You don't know if your efforts are paying off.
You're just in the dark.
Okay, what about running tests without a clear plan?
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for experimentation, but it's easy to get lost in all that data
Yeah.
and lose sight of the bigger picture.
It is. You need a hypothesis for every test.
Okay.
What are you trying to achieve? And how are you going to measure success?
Right.
This will keep you focused and make sure that your tests actually give you valuable insights.
I think I need to remind myself of that more often.
Yeah.
I get excited about testing new things,
Me too.
but it's easy to just get scattered.
Scattered. Yeah.
All right, last but not least on our CRO mistakes list, we have making too many design changes at once.
Oh, that's a big one.
Feels like a recipe for disaster.
It is. Imagine changing your website's layout, the colors, the fonts, and your product descriptions all at once.
Oh my gosh.
If your conversion rate goes up or down, how do you know what caused it?
Right. It's like changing all the ingredients in a recipe at once. You'll never know what made it taste better.
Or worse.
Or worse. So what's the takeaway here?
Slow and steady wins the race.
Okay.
Isolate your variables and make those changes one at a time.
Okay, so track the impact.
Yes, and make those data-driven decisions.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, but this guide isn't just about theory. It also includes some real-world case studies of companies that have, nailed their e-commerce CRO strategies.
Ooh, I love a good case study.
I know, it's always inspiring to see how other companies are putting these ideas into action.
Yes, let's get inspired.
First up, we have Somnifix.
Okay.
They make those little breathing strips that you wear on your nose.
Yeah.
And they took an unconventional approach to CRO that I'm dying to hear about.
Okay, so instead of simply trying to get more customers, they focused on increasing the average order value.
Interesting.
So getting existing customers to spend more.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
How did they do that? Did they start selling diamond-encrusted breathing strips?
Not quite. They actually redesigned their website to highlight the value of their higher-priced packs. So making those options more appealing.
Got it.
And also just easier to buy.
Okay.
So they really streamlined the checkout process for buying those larger packs.
So they made it easy to choose the higher-priced option.
Yeah.
Without being pushy.
Yeah, just presenting the option.
Did it work?
Their average order value jumped by 27%, and sales of those larger packages shot up by 200%.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It shows that you don't always have to play by the rules sometimes. Thinking outside the box really pays off.
Sometimes you have to.
All right, for our second case study, we have a company that everyone knows, Walmart.
Yeah, okay.
We're looking specifically at Walmart Canada's online store. What challenges were they facing?
They were struggling with slow loading times and a website that wasn't mobile friendly. Classic e-commerce struggles. But for a company as large as Walmart, the impact would have been significant.
I can only imagine. So how did Walmart tackle these challenges?
They went all in on optimization.
Okay.
They redesigned the website to prioritize speed and mobile responsiveness. They implemented A/B testing.
Right.
They did a ton of research, to understand their target audience.
It sounds like they took a very holistic approach. They addressed both the technical and the user experience.
Did it pay off?
Walmart Canada's overall conversion rate increased by 20%.
Wow.
And mobile orders skyrocketed with a 98% increase.
That's incredible.
It proves that even, established giants benefit from focusing on CRO.
It shows no matter how big or small you are, there's always room for improvement.
Always.
Well, I think we've covered a ton of ground in this first part of our CRO deep dive. We explored the fundamentals, tactics, best practices, advanced strategies, and even real-world examples. My brain is buzzing with ideas. What about you?
Oh, me too. But we're not done yet.
I know, there's more.
There's still more to uncover in this world of e-commerce CRO. So join us in part 2, where we're going to go even deeper.
Can't wait.
And continue this journey.
All right. See you there.
Welcome back to our deep dive into e-commerce CRO.
I'm ready for more.
We've learned so much already, but, CRO isn't one size fits all. What works for one business might not work for another.
Right. Each business is unique, with its own audience and goals.
Exactly.
So how do we figure out, which CRO strategies will work best for us? It can feel kind of overwhelming to know where to start.
It all begins with understanding your data.
Okay.
The guide really emphasizes analyzing, website traffic, customer behavior, sales data.
To identify those patterns and, areas for improvement. Like, what are people actually doing on your site?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Where are they dropping off?
Right.
What are they buying?
It's like having that behind-the-scenes look.
It is.
At what's really happening.
Yeah.
It's not just, gut feelings anymore.
Right.
But even with all that data, I imagine it can still be tough to know where to begin.
Sure.
This guide mentions something called a CRO framework,
Yeah.
which sounds promising.
Yeah.
What exactly is that, and how can it help?
So a CRO framework is basically just a structured approach
Yeah.
to conversion rate optimization.
Hmm.
It's a step-by-step process for, finding areas to improve,
Yeah.
testing solutions,
Right.
measuring the results.
Got it.
Think of it as, a recipe for CRO success.
Oh, I love a good recipe.
Me too.
What are the key ingredients in this CRO framework?
Most frameworks include a few key steps.
Okay.
First, you have to define your goals and KPIs.
All right.
What are you hoping to achieve? More sales, higher average order value, more email signups.
Yeah.
Make sure you have those specific, measurable goals in place.
So you know exactly what you're aiming for.
Exactly.
Okay, what's next?
Then you conduct a thorough website audit.
Okay.
This means analyzing your website's design, content, user experience, technical performance to identify any roadblocks. It's like giving your website a checkup.
Yeah.
To see what's working and what needs attention.
It's like preventative medicine
It is.
for your website.
Exactly.
All right, so what happens after that website checkup?
That's when you start forming hypotheses based on what you found.
Okay.
What changes do you think will have the biggest impact?
Hmm.
So, for example, maybe you notice a lot of people are abandoning their carts.
Right.
So your hypothesis could be that, simplifying that checkout process will reduce that abandonment rate.
Right, okay.
Then you prioritize those hypotheses based on, potential impact and how easy they are to implement.
So you're not just randomly changing things.
Yeah.
You're being very strategic
Strategic.
and focusing on what will give you the biggest bang for your buck, what
Yeah.
comes after that hypothesis stage.
Next, you got to test those hypotheses.
Sorry?
This usually involves A/B testing,
Hmm.
where you compare two versions of something to see what performs better. So maybe you test two different checkout pages
Okay.
or two different calls to action.
You're putting those theories to the test,
Yeah,
seeing what the data tells you.
exactly.
It's very data-driven. I like that.
Data-driven, yes.
And finally.
You analyze the results of those tests
Okay.
and make decisions based on what you've learned.
Hmm.
So did your hypothesis hold up?
Right.
Did the changes you made actually have the effect you were hoping for?
It's a cycle
It is.
of testing, learning, and refining.
Exactly. It's not about getting it perfect right away. It's
Yeah.
about making those gradual improvements over time.
But even with a framework, CRO can still feel kind of overwhelming.
It can.
What are some of the biggest challenges people run into?
Okay.
And how can we overcome them?
I think one of the toughest is just getting started.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in the details and lose sight of the big picture.
Mm.
My advice, start small,
Okay.
pick one or two key areas, and just go from there.
Don't try to boil the ocean.
No, you don't have to do everything at once.
It's like breaking down a big project
Yes.
into smaller, more manageable tasks.
Exactly.
I know I get overwhelmed when I try to do too much at once.
We all do.
What other CRO pitfalls should we watch out for?
Another common mistake is not letting those tests run long enough.
Hmm.
It's so tempting to jump to conclusions.
Yeah, you want those results right away.
Right, but you need enough data
Yeah.
to be confident in the results.
It's like waiting for a cake to bake.
It is.
You can't rush the process.
You can't.
Patience is key.
Patience is key.
What other mistakes do people tend to make?
Sometimes people just focus on the wrong metrics.
Hmm.
It's easy to get caught up in, website traffic or social media followers, but those don't always translate to conversions.
They're vanity metrics.
Yeah. Make sure you're tracking those metrics that actually matter to your goals.
Right, the ones that drive revenue.
Exactly.
Speaking of metrics, one I'm particularly interested in is customer lifetime value.
Okay.
How can we use CRO to not only attract new customers, but also turn them into loyal, repeat buyers?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because it's great to get those new customers in the door, but wouldn't it be amazing if they kept coming back for more?
CRO can actually play a huge role in building that loyalty. So by optimizing that post-purchase experience,
Okay.
you can turn those first-time buyers into repeat customers.
I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah, think beyond that initial purchase.
So we're thinking about the long-term relationship.
Yeah, the long game.
What are some ways to optimize that post-purchase experience?
Simple things like, sending personalized thank you emails,
Okay.
offering exclusive discounts to loyal customers, providing exceptional customer service, and making it super easy for them to reorder their favorite products.
So it's all about making them feel valued,
Valued, yes.
appreciated.
It's like building a friendship.
Right.
You nurture it, you show appreciation, and you make that effort to stay in touch.
Right. It's not a one-time transaction.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing relationship.
It is. And, it's important to remember that CRO is an ongoing process. The e-commerce world is constantly evolving.
Yeah, it's changing so fast.
So you got to stay up to date, on the latest trends and best practices.
So how do we stay ahead of that CRO curve? What resources do you recommend?
There's a ton of information out there.
Okay.
Blogs and websites like, Neil Patel, Conversion XL, Optimizely. They offer so many resources from beginner guides to advanced strategies.
Oh, right.
And there's conferences and webinars, like CXL Live or Conversion Conference,
Okay.
where you can actually connect with other CRO professionals and learn from the experts.
It's like going back to school, but for CRO. That's great. And what about, the power of community?
Oh, that's huge.
Is that important too?
It is. Connecting with those other e-commerce professionals and sharing those experiences,
Yeah.
Bouncing ideas off of each other. It's invaluable.
Yeah. There's so much you can learn from other people who are in the trenches with you.
For sure. There are, online forums and communities specifically dedicated to CRO. You can ask questions, get feedback, and, just stay inspired.
It's about surrounding yourself with those like-minded people
Exactly.
who understand the challenges.
Yes.
And can offer that support.
Support and encouragement.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. But before we move on, is there anything else you want to emphasize about the importance of CRO for e-commerce businesses?
I think the most important thing to remember is that CRO is about more than just, making small tweaks to your website. It's about creating a customer-centric experience that drives those conversions and builds those lasting relationships.
It's not just about getting people to click buy.
Right.
It's about creating an experience.
Exactly. One that makes them want to come back for more.
I love that. It's about creating that sense of connection.
Yes.
And loyalty.
Loyalty, exactly.
Well, I think we've officially reached the halfway point
Okay.
of our CRO deep dive.
Right.
My brain is already overflowing with ideas.
Mine too.
And I'm so eager to see what else this guide has in store for us.
I'm excited to share more, so join us in part 3 where we'll explore even more advanced strategies and give you some actionable tips.
Can't wait. We're back for the final part of our CRO deep dive. I feel like we covered so much already.
I know, right?
But I'm excited to see what else we can learn.
Me too. We've only just scratched the surface.
Okay.
We're going to be exploring some really cutting-edge tactics that can, take your e-commerce game to a whole new level.
All right. I'm ready. What's first on the agenda?
Let's talk about personalization. We touched on it briefly before, but I want to really delve deeper into, how you can use data to create these truly personalized experiences that, wow, your customers.
I know personalization is like such a big buzzword these days.
It is.
But it's more than just putting someone's name in an email, right?
Oh, for sure.
How do we create those, those you get me experiences
Right.
that make people feel like we really understand their needs?
It all comes down to using data effectively.
Okay.
Today's e-commerce platforms, they gather so much information about customers, their browsing history, purchase patterns, even, what they linger on. And by analyzing this data, you can actually spot trends and divide your audience into groups based on their interests, their demographics, their behavior. So you're essentially creating these customer profiles that help you understand what makes them tick.
Okay, so we've got all this data. We've sorted our audience into groups. Now what? How do we actually use this to make those personalized experiences happen?
This is where it gets fun. So imagine, you can personalize those product recommendations based on someone's browsing history and their past purchases.
Okay, so if someone bought a pair of running shoes last month, we might recommend running apparel or accessories.
Exactly.
Okay, what else can we do?
Think about tailoring your email marketing campaigns.
Okay.
Instead of sending the same generic email to everyone,
Right.
you send very targeted messages that speak to each group's, unique interest.
So someone who just bought a coffee maker might get emails about different coffee blends or filters.
Right.
While someone who bought a tea kettle might get emails about tea varieties or infusers.
Exactly. It's about giving them what they're interested in, not just blasting them with the same message.
And then there's dynamic website content. You can show different content to different people based on, their location, what device they're using, or even their past behavior on your site.
It's about optimizing that experience
Yeah.
for each person, no matter how they're accessing your site.
So someone browsing on their phone might see a more streamlined version
Right.
with fewer distractions,
Exactly.
whereas someone on a desktop might see a more detailed layout.
Exactly. That's the idea.
It's all about optimizing.
It's optimization.
And the best part is, there are all these tools and technologies now
Oh, yeah.
that can help you do this automatically.
Automate it. Yeah.
You don't have to be a data scientist
No.
to create these personalized experiences.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how powerful this can be.
It is powerful.
It's like creating a custom shopping experience for each person who visits your site.
That's the goal.
What other exciting trends are on the horizon for e-commerce CRO?
One that's really picking up steam is artificial intelligence.
AI.
AI. We talked about how AI can help with, A/B testing and personalization, but it can do so much more.
Yeah. AI is one of those things that's both so exciting and also a little bit intimidating.
I get it.
It feels like it's changing everything so quickly.
It really is.
How is AI specifically changing the game for e-commerce CRO?
Well, for one, AI can analyze massive amounts of data
Yeah.
much faster and more accurately than humans ever could. So this means you can uncover all these hidden patterns and insights
Right.
that would otherwise just go unnoticed.
So it's like having a superpowered analyst working behind the scenes.
Exactly.
That's incredible. What other superpowers does AI bring to the table?
AI can help you predict customer behavior. So by analyzing past data,
Okay.
it can actually forecast what customers are likely to do next. So you can target them with, the most relevant offers and messages.
So it's like having a crystal ball
It is.
that tells you what your customers are going to want before they even know it themselves.
Exactly.
That's powerful. What else?
AI can also optimize your pricing and promotions.
Okay.
So it can figure out the sweet spot for each product
Okay.
and each customer segment.
So you're maximizing your revenue.
You are.
Okay. And then there's customer service.
Mm,
How does AI fit in there?
AI-powered chatbots.
Oh, yeah.
They can provide instant support, answering those common questions,
Okay.
resolving issues very quickly and efficiently.
So it frees up your human customer service agents
Exactly.
to focus on those more complicated issues.
So not only is AI helping you understand your customers better, it's helping you automate tasks and make your operations much more efficient.
It's like having a whole team of digital assistants
It is.
working 24/7
Yeah.
to optimize every part of your business.
And as AI technology continues to evolve,
Yeah, it's constantly evolving.
I think we're going to see even more innovative applications in the world of CRO.
It's amazing to think about all the possibilities.
It is.
It feels like you need to be constantly learning and adapting
Yeah, always learn.
to keep up with the pace of change.
Definitely.
But, you don't have to jump on every new trend.
You don't.
Focus on what makes sense for your business, your target audience.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what's the one piece of advice you would give to e-commerce businesses looking to improve those conversions?
Focus on the customer experience. CRO is about creating a seamless and enjoyable experience for your customers.
Yeah.
If you make them feel valued
Yeah.
and understood, the conversions will follow.
I love that.
It's about building relationships,
Hmm.
not just chasing transactions.
That is a perfect way to sum it all up. I think we've officially reached the bottom of our CRO deep dive.
We did it.
My brain is bursting with new ideas and strategy.
Oh, mine too.
A huge thank you to everyone for tuning in
Yes.
and
All right.
joining us on this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. That's it for this episode of Mind Your Conversions, brought to you by Fiverr. I hope you are leaving with fresh ideas and strategies to take your marketing and your conversions to the next level. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Thanks for listening. Until then, take care, and we'll see you next time.